Hi, heroes. This is Stan Lee coming at you. Want you to know, Marvel has always been and always will be a reflection of the world right outside our window. That world may change and evolve, but the one thing that will never change is the way we tell our stories of heroism.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Avengers! The fans have spoken. Yeah! Avengers Endgame is shattering box office records around the world. Assemble.
Avengers Endgame was one of the best films I've ever seen by far. 22 films in the making, 10 years in the making. And obviously before that you had the early Spider-Man films with some of the great quotes, such as this one.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
But obviously I've grown up with the Marvel films, as many people have done as well. And apart from, being very entertaining and enjoying the storytelling, I've always admired, the life lessons and the leadership lessons in these films. Even though they're fictitious and even though they're not real, I'd like to do this quick video on some of the top lessons that I learned from Avengers Endgame and maybe some of the previous films as well. So enjoy the video.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Okay, this is probably my favourite lesson, whatever it takes. Leaders know what they want and they never stop until they get it. And that's what Steve Rogers, Captain America, did. And he said, this is the fight of our lives, we're going to do it no matter what, whatever it takes. Because they never backed down, they always did what was necessary. And if you have this as a mantra in your life, that you do it no matter what, you do whatever it takes, I assure you that you'll achieve those things you really want to achieve. You're not going to stop until you actually do get what you set out to do in the first place.
Some people move on. But not us. Not us.
Okay, so this is one of my favourite ones, not moving on. As Captain America said, some people move on, but not us. And what I like about that is leaders, they own their results. They know what they want, and some people in life often, wanted something, didn't get it, and then they just move on. But you have to have that belief, that leadership to get what's right, because you don't stop changing your approach until you get what you want. And that's what the Avengers do in all these films. They never lay down and die. Might have to sacrifice, but ultimately they don't give up. They never give up. One of the best pieces of advice ever in life. They don't give up until they get what they want. They don't move on.
If he gets all the Infinity Stones, he can do it with the snap of his fingers.
Lila, let's go. Lila?
And just like that, your life can change. Now obviously the opening scene with Hawkeye and his family disappearing shows you this, how life can change in an instant. The Avengers didn't see it coming, but what this really means is, life can change in an instant, good or bad. But no matter how bad it gets, someone might die in your family, however bad it is, you might get rejected, you might have a loss, but ultimately that doesn't determine who you are. It's not how we fall, it's how we rise after we've fallen that determines our future, your attitude. The Avengers didn't let that get them down. They weren't expecting it because they always expect to win. But when they lost, they dusted themselves off, went again, didn't give up, and ultimately, yes, life can change in a moment and you have to always remember that, but it's how you react in life, because one thing is what happens, but another thing is how you react to what happens. That is the major determining factor in how your life turns out.
This is the fight of our lives.
This is gonna work, Steve.
I know it is. Because I don't know what I'm gonna do if it doesn't.
Even if there's a small chance that we can undo this, we owe it to everyone who's not in this room to try.
Okay, so this next one I really like, because leaders often find the opportunity, even if there's a small chance. As Black Widow says in this piece of the film, And that's what you have to do. You have to always look out for if there's a small chance, you know, it might not seem obvious, but there's always a way. If you're committed, if you look for it, you'll find it, and you have to give it a try, because often when you do, you'll be surprised at how rewarding things can be if you just try and give it a go.
This is the fight of our lives. No mistakes. No do-overs.
No mistakes. Well, that is something we can all learn from. Never get struck by the same lightning twice, they often say. So don't fall into the trap of making a mistake and repeating it. As I said earlier in the video, mistakes are part of the learning process, but try not to repeat them, because if you do, you'll be frustrated and you could have learned from it in the first place. But if we do, then trust me, success will come very quickly.
The world is in our hands. We gotta do something with it.
With opportunity, sometimes it's in our hands and we have to take full advantage of it. I remember once I had a football match and I had a chance to step up to the top team, and the coach said to me, grab it with both hands. So when an opportunity is in your grasp, take advantage of it. And as they say in this video, the world's in our hands, we've got to do something with it. Take advantage of your opportunities and things will start to change.
It's not about how much we lost. It's about how much we have left.
Sometimes we don't move forward enough in life because we focus on what we don't have instead of what we do have. And there's a quote that goes like, don't let what you can't do interfere with what you can do. So remember, it's not always about what you don't have, it's about what you have right now, how you can use that to progress you into the future and achieve your goals. Because if you focus on what you don't have, then that's what you're going to experience. But if you focus on what you have and make the most of it and maximise, that is what's going to get you that end result and get you that goal that you really want.
So since Infinity War came out, how many people have said to you in the street, should have gone for the head?
Quite a lot, yeah. Should have gone for the head. And
this next one is learning from your mistakes. As it happened in Infinity War, Thor went for the chest of Thanos, didn't get the head. So in Endgame, he goes for the head, learns from his mistakes, albeit doesn't lead to the greatest success, but we can always remember in life we should learn from our mistakes and we can come back stronger when we get that next chance that will come up. It always does. You have to be ready and you have to learn from those mistakes. Okay, so here's a fun fact. They actually filmed Avengers Age of Ultron, the Hulk and the Hulkbuster scene, in the Brent Civic Library in Wembley, where I am right now. Let's get in there, I'll show you around, and then I'll show you the scene where the Hulk and the Hulkbuster broke out in a fight, and they filmed it right in that building. Okay, so I'm in the Brent Civic Library Centre right now. As you can see, that is where the fight kicked off in the film. I'll show you in a second, but that's where the Hulk and the Hulkbuster had their big fight. Obviously all computer generated, but this is where the big Hollywood stars were, in this building, right where I am now. Let's roll the scene.
That way, no, that way.
Come on, Bruce, you gotta work with me.
Everybody out.
I'm sorry.
So obviously it's pretty cool to be in a place where all these big Hollywood stars were, and also where Avengers in years gone by has been filmed. Let's keep the video going.
You trust me? I do.
Okay, so this one is all about trust. Leadership involves trust, and you must have trust with people because you need to be able to work with others all the time if you want to go far. You can't do it all by yourself, and you need that teamwork to go with it.
I can do this all day.
Yeah, I know.
Also, great leaders have great perseverance. Obviously, the 2012 Captain America said, I can do this all day. Captain America said, yes, I know. And that shows how great leaders have perseverance.
if I tell you what happens, it won't happen.
better be right.
Successful leaders do not need all the facts. They don't need to know everything to keep moving forward and to act ultimately, and that's why Doctor Strange said, if I told you, then it's not going to happen. So sometimes you don't need to know everything, you just need to act, keep moving forward.
No amount of money ever bought a second of time.
Okay, no amount of money ever bought a second of time. Leaders understand that time is the most valuable commodity, and ultimately, you know, money can't buy time. So your time is more valuable. You can't get it back. You can get more money, not more time. If you understand that, how valuable time is, you'll use every second of the day. And if you do that, then you'll have abundance in life.
That's right. A lot of people are outraged over Fat Thor in Endgame. Avengers Endgame saw the Asgardian god of thunder, Thor, fight with overwhelming feelings of failure.
So what can we learn from Thor here? Well, the thing is, don't ever let yourself go. And what I mean by that is, you know, bad things in life can either make you bitter or they can make you better. So since the snap, the 5 years after, he decided to let himself go mentally, physically. He gave up hope. He thought the battle was lost. But ultimately, you have to have hope. Don't let yourself go mentally or physically. There's always a way. And like I said, don't let it make you be bitter. Let it make you better. Always learn and your chance will come again.
It's a nice way of putting it.
One way. Out of 14 million, whatever ways it was, there was only one way for the film to end. Isn't that true in life sometimes? Isn't it sometimes a case that you only need one way to work? We try so many things, and in the end, it might take one sacrifice, one way, and ultimately you'll be there. Sometimes you need that one opportunity, that one chance, but trust me, you might have to wait a long time, you might not have to wait too long, you might still be waiting, but what I learned from this is sometimes there's a million ways to do something, but sometimes to get what you want, you only need one way. To get success.
We can bust arms dealers all the live long day, but that up there, that's the end game. How are you guys planning on beating that?
Together.
We'll lose.
And we'll do that together too.
So obviously in life you can only do so much by yourself, but as they say, if you do it together, if you do it with other people, you're more likely to succeed. You can only do so much by yourself. If you do it with someone else, if you do it with a team, you're more likely to succeed.
Part of the journey is the end.
Life is cyclical. Things come and go, things end. Every good story has an ending, and that can't be more true in life. You know, this is an end of an era with these films, the end of Iron Man, and the same happens in life, and we often have to accept that, you know, one door closes, another door opens, and one chapter finishes, but doesn't mean the book's over. So life is cyclical, but part of the journey is the end.
I'm not ready.
No one ever is.
I took this one from Doctor Strange. No one ever is ready, and that's why we have to act before we're ready. I'm going to be talking about that more in my next video, so stay tuned for that. Let's keep this video rolling. This one's from Avengers Infinity War, but I like this one because, as Doctor Strange says,
there was no other way.
Often in life we want our way to work, and we're quite inflexible when it doesn't. So if you can stay flexible and know there's a way, it doesn't necessarily have to be the way you wanted it to be, because there's always another way. Might not be the first way, but ultimately there is a way, and that's what Doctor Strange is saying in this scene.
I put the brains and the brawn together, and now look at me. Best of both worlds.
And obviously this is in contrast with Thor, who decides to let himself go, but obviously Bruce Banner and Hulk decided on their issues and they worked it out after Infinity War. And often in life we need to work out our inner conflicts, and only then we can move forward. But often we can then get the best of both worlds because we know how to act and how to be in different situations, which is something really worth doing and acting on starting now.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
So coming back to this idea of learning from your mistakes, Thanos says you could not live with your own failure. And where did that bring you? Back to me. So what this means is if we don't learn from our mistakes, then ultimately we'll have to revisit them at some point. And when you do revisit, as I said, You want to learn from the past and then this time do it right. And if you use the past as a teacher, then it'll serve you well when you revisit that same situation or problem later on.
When I drift off, I will dream about you. It's always you.
When it comes to the end of your life, you've got to remember the most important things. And it's not going to be about how much money you made or how much success you had. And that's why Tony Stark says, when I drift off, I'll be thinking of you, to Pepper Potts. Because the most important thing in life is family. And you've got to keep things in perspective. Money, success are important, but not one of the most important things. And always keep it in perspective. That's another life lesson we can always remember. Also, a big lesson we can learn from Marvel is this film is 3 hours, and not many people would go along and see a film for 3 hours, yet it's become the second highest grossing film. It could even go on to be the highest grossing film ever, and that's because time is emotion. And this film is so well put together, so well crafted, so entertaining, so funny, so sad as well, that people will go along, not just watch it once, but watch it multiple times. And that is the true sign of great storytelling and great entertainment. So it's so incredible how they can build this up and create such a great film.
Everybody wants a happy ending, right? But it doesn't always roll that way. Maybe this time.
Obviously, most films have a fairy tale ending. But obviously, as Tony Stark said, I know we all want a fairy tale ending, but it doesn't always work out that way. But that is the thing, it won't always work out how you want it to, but sometimes it's because something better is going to happen instead of it. And it might mean that you lose things along the way. Got to keep the faith that it has happened for a greater good. So the biggest part of the film was sacrifice. Iron Man sacrificed himself after all these films, after all these years. And that's a big thing that we can learn from it as well. Sometimes you have to sacrifice your time, your energy, your money. Some people even risk their lives for people. Obviously that's an extreme in this film, but what it symbolises is often we need to sacrifice more for the greater good. When we're sacrificing something that's greater than ourselves, often then that's when we experience the best freedom in life, the best things in life. Tony Stark was one of them people who was quite selfish, but in the end he knew what he had to do. There was only one way, but he did the most selfless act, which was sacrifice. And of course we had the sacrifice from Black Widow as well, and you know, without the sacrifice I wouldn't have got the greater goal. So sacrifice is a huge lesson that we can learn from Endgame. Great leaders are well respected as well. But someone once said, one of the measures of success is how many people turn up to your funeral. And obviously Tony Stark, being selfless in the end, it was evident that he was a well-respected person because he had every single Marvel character so far turn up to his funeral. And good leaders also finish well with that chess piece that said, proof that Tony Stark has a heart. In the end, it all works out all right. And in the end, great leaders have done what is right.
Part of the journey is the end. What am I even tripping for? Everything's going to work out exactly the way it's supposed to.
So ultimately, the biggest thing that we can take away, Robert Downey Jr. being the MCU's main character, Iron Man, he started it all. And what I want to say about this is Robert Downey Jr. is someone who has transformed his life through cinema, through acting, and it wasn't always that way. It wasn't always, you know, being at the top of the tree. People often do like to dream, but they often dream and think, well, that's a dream, it's not going to happen to me. And what we can learn from someone like this is that anything is possible. If you put your mind to something, it's never too late, and ultimately you can have the life you want. I'm sure Robert Downey Jr. would look back and say he made the right decisions and ultimately he didn't give up. That's what we can learn from Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr.
I'm a changed man. You can take away my house, all my tricks and toys. One thing you can't take away: I am Iron Man.
And that wraps up the top tips and top leadership lessons I've learned from Avengers Endgame. So there are my top lessons that I learned from Avengers Endgame and previous Avengers films. If you did enjoy the video, then make sure you give it a thumbs up. Comment down below your favourite lesson, and also hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to be posting a lot more videos now over the summer. And I enjoyed making this video, enjoyed watching the film. Go and see it if you haven't, as I said, and I'll catch you in the next video.